Going to sleep. Good morning, guys. I'm going to sleep now. Laptop is not plugged in. Go and sleep. Have a good night. Sleepy time. Shippy, shippy. Shippy, shippy. Bye, guys. I can sleep watching this, but whatever.
I wasted thousands on expensive car insurance until I found this hack. Listen to this, guys. I have a 2018 Tesla Model 3.
Hey guys, how you doing? I'm Takashi. So today I'm in Tokyo, Shibuya right now. I'm gonna go to the biggest car meeting in Tokyo. My Japanese friend, he's gonna pick me up right now in Shibuya, and we're gonna go to the Daikoku parking area where the many car lovers come. I'm so excited. This video is gonna be car culture in Japan. If you're into these kind of things, you will love it. So let's get into it. はじめまして。This is Wang Aoshi. I'm Mori. I'm a founder of this tour, and today we're gonna go to the Daikoku parking. Daikoku parking car meeting is the best car meet in Tokyo and in Japan. You're gonna be surprised. It's your car. Yes, my car. Yes. This is ER34. Skyline. Yes. If you know the car, then people know the car. Yeah, of course, man. Because this is car from Fast Furious. Amazing car. Legendary car. Let's go. All right, man. Let's go. So thanks for driving. We arrived at Daikoku parking area. So what is this exactly? Can you explain me? It is a very, very big parking area. It located in Yokohama, and this is the biggest car meeting. Okay, let's get started. 自分の車紹介してもらっていいですか？
はい、日産の34Zニスモを乗ってます。
なんかどれぐらいしました？もしよけれ
514万円しました。
どうしてその車選びましたか？
もともと日産がお父さんが好きで、それで私も好きで、日産の車乗りたいなと思って、もともと Z33 が好きだったんですけど、見ていくうちに34が好きになって、状態いい車探したらこの車ほど言っていて、買ったって感じですね。スポーツカーなのに、女の子が乗っても2シーターなんで、スポーツカーになるのと速いです。3.7 リッターなんで。
トヨタは80スーパーです。最終型のスーパーです。2000万。やっぱりワイルドスピード出てる車なんで、魅力的だと思って、丸めが好きなんですよね、スーパーの。そこが、僕にちょっと刺さってほしいなと思って買いました。はい。
買ってみて乗り心地とかどうですか？他の車と何が違いますか？
やっぱり運転しやすいし、パワーもあるんで、今ちょっとまだノーマルなんですけど、もっともっと改造して、先輩駅まで行ければちょっといいなと思って。
他に車持ったりしてますか？
持ってます。GTR35 です。自分の、お父さんのが乗ってて、もうちょっとうちのお父さん乗らないんで、僕がもう譲ってもらって、
BNR34 GTR です。2000万ぐらいで。ワイルドスピードを見て、ポール・ウォーカーが乗ってるんで、ワイルドスピードってファスト&フューリアスです。日本語だとワイルドスピード。そうですね。ファスト&フューリアス。はい。ポール・ウォーカーが乗ってましたね。青とシルバー。ER34 スカイラインになります。300万ぐらいしましたね。ずっといわゆる JDM っていう車が欲しくて、ドリフトに興味があったので、ドリフトしやすいということで買いました。特に外国人からの受けが良くて、見た目重視で組んでるんですけど、それとやっぱ34らしく、ER34 だとドリフトベースでやっぱ人気なので、すごいパワーが出るし、ターボも入ってるんで、自分はドリフトのしやすさと、見た目で選んでます。
スバルのレガシーになります。スバルといったらこの特徴的な青とホイールの黄色、ここに惹かれて買っちゃいました。20万ですね。
20万？そう、20万で車買えるんですか？
買えますね。中古車のこういった古くて、走行距離も伸びてるような車だったら20万から買えます。
BMW の、E36 の、318IS エンジンがツインカムになってミッションのマニュアルにこの E36 型の、318、IS という車が大好きで、過去にレースで、走っていたりもしたんですけど、 クーペはそのずっとレースを出てた車はもともと、まあ、今でも持ってるんですが、同じ車種でセダンボディも乗ってみたいなということで、
他に車を持たれたりとか所有されたりしますか？
はい、妻に、BMW の、E90 という、今は3台種類。
ベンツの C63 持ってます。C63 はめちゃくちゃエンジンでかくて、フルパワーでザ・男って感じの車で、僕は大好きです。
もう一台34 GTR 持ってます。なんで同じやつもやっぱり It's not just
A question we get all the time is how do you do culinary school online? And the way we do it is by focusing on technique. Taste and flavor is very subjective. Technique is not. What we also do is teach
the spelling of grammar checker. Grammarly is an AI writing.
Instagram.
Well, I mean, it's iconic, you know. I mean, I come from Europe, so even there, like just by Instagram reels, by YouTube videos, everything, it's just an iconic place.
I found out by Goku's from Fast and the Furious when it first came out. Ever since seeing the R34, the Veilside RX-7, I mean, it's always been a dream coming out here. So it's our first time coming out here in Japan, and I told my girlfriend, like, we have to come here.
How do you like it so far here?
It's awesome. I mean, I've just gotten here. I've been here for 10 minutes, but I mean, we don't have these things in Europe where I live. You know, the vicinity of Germany, we don't have this. So it's just awesome to see the cars that are there, to just see how you guys build these cars. It's insane to me.
Seeing all these cars from Nissans, Hondas, Toyotas, supercars like Lamborghinis, Maseratis, and all that. I mean, it's a big shock to us, but it's pretty enjoyable. So anyone who comes out here to Japan, try to find a way to come out here because, I mean, whether you like cars or not, I mean, it's going to be a good experience.
Very, very good. Nice car. I didn't see this type of car in my life. In France, we don't have like car, very Japanese type, you know? Yeah, we don't have this. Very good. I like it.
Anything you didn't expect that happened here? So just the amount of modifications, just the amount of characters within each car. I mean, each car, it looks like it matches with the personality of the driver. Over there seems to be a common theme of cars. However, each one, it's beautifully modified. So expectations were broken, I would say.
Like there is car with anime on this. Very cute, kawaii. I like it. Yeah.
You don't feel it's wrong.
No, never, never.
What particularly do you like?
Meet Niles Knurk. He's the owner of Gurney's. They're a seed company, and they've been selling exclusive varieties since
Welcome to Slop 60, the greatest show. This past Monday, Jack Doherty had the police called on him at his own house. That's right, Jack Doherty, massive, longtime friend of the show, close personal friend of mine. If you guys didn't know that, me and Jack have known each other since high school. Actually, we go way back. We go back a long way. Big friend of mine. He's a really good guy. Love him. But seriously though, this past Monday, Jack Doherty's now ex-girlfriend called the police on him so she could get her stuff out of the Doherty pimp mansion, because he's a pimp, like not in a good way, like in an actual way. He's kind of a pimp in a bad way. He's like Bob Dolomite. The ex-girlfriend of Jack Doherty came forward and stated that Jack threatened her, according to this article that I found. And also this epic live stream on this piece of shit website called Party. I have no idea what this is.
Alright, you gotta get out of my house. I didn't let you guys say she doesn't own this house. I didn't say you come to my house. I don't care. I don't care. Bro, you called the cops on your own house, bro. I've done everything. I didn't threaten you, bro.
Firstly, I want to know what it's like to be threatened by Jack Doherty. I'm not trying to diminish her fear of this idiot psychopath. But like, what is he? He's just gonna go, I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna climb up you, and he just messes up. He's like a little rhesus monkey. Ooh, with his broken clavicle. Oh, my arm, it hurts so much. Oh, my clavicle. Oh, my broccoli head. Oh. Boylan. He's a cruciferous vegetable. This is pretty alarming news, I've got to be honest. I thought he was just kind of a clown idiot, and maybe he was kind of in on the joke with his friends and stuff. But considering that Jack Doherty makes a large chunk of his money managing other women's OnlyFans somehow, I don't know how he's managing anything at all. In the video, Jack can be seen calling his girlfriend obscenities as he follows her around. Classic alpha male style. The police enter the home and try to follow his girlfriend, but Jack has a pussy fit. He literally throws a hissy fit like a child and tells them that they're not allowed in his house. The police respond to this by saying that she is a resident of the home, so she can be welcomed in. And the whole time, Jack cannot believe that this is happening. He's rubbing his hair, I'm sure. He's rubbing his hair, and he's like, he's a toddler. He looks like a human mushroom, a broccoli. He's a human broccoli. He's broccoli boy. I was going to say broccoli man, but that would be like a sort of a, too nice, honestly. Now, the cherry on top of this entire situation is what he said on stream after she left the house and in his response to the incident where he threatened his girlfriend or his ex-girlfriend or McKinley, I think her name is. He said that he felt used, but that he did in fact say things that he probably shouldn't have, but that didn't justify her leaving. So, threatening somebody, just what a freak, what a goober, dude. During his stream, he also said that he wasn't that upset by her leaving, but he was more upset about the fact that she is now rich and has a Maybach. So, and that's because of him, I guess, because of how do they make money? They don't get any viewership. How is it real? It has to be all just others. It has to be like, he has to be a pimp. He's got to be a pimp, brother. He's walking around in the back. He's got the wristwalk, and the crowd goes wild. And all the 17-year-old OnlyFans models that he's got in his stable are just hoping to threaten him. Or whatever. Dude, come on. Come on, dude. You, Jack. Come on, sit on my lap. Come to my house, sit on my lap. I want to have a talk with you. Little fella. A nice talk, a friendly talk, I think. I think I could probably get along very well with him. Maybe he could teach me his tools of the trade. I mean, live streaming, how to clip farm, not the whole pimp thing. What the I don't want to learn any of that stuff. I'm talking about just like, there's nothing at all in the world that I could learn from Jack Doherty. There's nothing at all in the world that you could learn from Jack Doherty. There isn't a single human being in the world that exists in real life that isn't a bot, that isn't paid by Jack or his management team that likes him. He's got to be the most hated human being that makes content. And he's not even like doing crime and stuff. He's not even like Johnny Somali. He just is unlikable. It's so bad. It's the worst of the worst. It isn't redeemable in any sense. Say what you will about, Mark Wahlberg and his hate crime or whatever, and him being a piece of shit when he was a young buck. There's a lot of people who really like Mark Wahlberg, think he's a super talented guy. He was a piece of shit when he was young. And whenever you play, I'm so lonely, whatever the song by Justin Bieber, people don't know, what's going on in your mind when you're like in the tippy top of the world. I don't know what I'm talking about. There are bad people that have redeemable qualities. Jack Doherty is not even that bad of a person. He's not a violent, evil, criminal, horrible, war criminal, sex pest or whatever. I don't know. I don't want to slander him or whatever. Say he's not those things if he is. Has no redeeming qualities somehow. There is not a human being out there on the YouTube platform that is less redeemable than Jack Doherty. He's so unlikable. Nothing he does is in any way valuable and brings any value to society in any way, in any shape, form. It's just embarrassing. Be honest, my friend. When was the last time you refused to go to the doctor just because you didn't want to? Because you're really, really lazy. You found some kind of
Uber Eats is delivering more deals so you can watch more basketball. Right now, get a buy one, get one pizza from Little Caesars to get food to watch basketball. And then more food to watch more basketball. Order now, only on Uber Eats.
Getting a degree at ASU is a journey that can take you anywhere. Into a world of renowned, award-winning faculty. Becoming your best starts with learning from the best.
To avoid it. I'm looking at you, guy in the studio audience. Maybe you told yourself, it'll heal on its own. That goiter will maybe go away eventually over time or something like that. But let's be real. Avoiding it never makes things any better. And that is where ZocDoc comes in. Long-time sponsor of the show, friend of the channel. If you got an itchy eye, a swollen gland, or a cough that will not go away, use ZocDoc. It's a free app and website where you can search, compare, and instantly book high-quality in-network doctors across every single primary care specialty. Dentists, butt doctors, foot doctors, head doctors, Dr. Phil. You can also filter by doctors that will take your specific insurance, ones that are located nearby, close to you, and ones that are highly verified by patients. So there's a social credit score, which is really cool. This part, appointments happen fast, usually within 24 to 72 hours, but sometimes even same day. No more 6-month wait lists just to hear Dink Mul Wodo. Use ZocDoc. Stop putting off your health and general well-being. Go to ZocDoc.com/Oopaville and find a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/Oopaville. The thought of his ex-girlfriend coming from nothing to being a richer person, I guess, by being in contact with him, really dug deep into his core because he was extremely pissed off at her for leaving. But it gets better, though, my friends. In his response to Dexerto, he said a dumb argument was the cause of the whole ordeal. So he had a dumb argument with his now ex-girlfriend. I don't think that I should cut the top of my hair any shorter because it looks really good when it's longer than the sides and it's long on the top and it's longer than my boobs. Don't you like VeggieTale, McKinley or whatever? And then she's like, no, look like a normal, functioning human being in society. Gain a few pounds of muscle, work out, maybe get lengthening surgery or something. Because like, I don't even care about people being short. It's just he's got the toddler body. It's like, dude, go through puberty or something. That's what she's saying, I'm sure, probably. So yeah, in his response to Dexerto, he's not refuting anything. He's backing up the claims of the ex and has no care in the world. He's never cared about anything or anyone ever, except for himself, obviously. If you remember last year, Jack crashed his McLaren because he was on his phone and forced his friend, who was bleeding from his head, to film the whole thing. That shit was crazy. That's a slop 60 crazy certified moment right there, dude. That's real. That's an actual human being that crashes a car because he's not paying attention, endangers his friend, and then just gets the friend to film the whole thing. So seeing that his girlfriend left him because he was being verbally abusive and threatening her, and then reacting like he did nothing wrong is par for the course for our boy Jack Doherty. Smash like, buy Sour Boys, go to sour.gg. I have an actual product that I'm proud of that I make it, I'm the only employee. Just kidding, that's a lie. That's not true. We have a lot of beautiful employees, amazing, incredible people, tremendous people. Just kidding. They're good folks though. Go to sour.gg. We have a new flavor every single Friday at 3 Central Standard. All right, go up and buy yourself some H-some flavors up there. We got strawberry, we got rainbow this week. All right, got sour mango on the side. We also have a TikTok shop now, and we're about to take it. No, that's a total bullshit. You know, do not fact check that statement type moment. But Hop to a girl's back, so you know, in big money news, I guess. Spit on that thing. So Hop 2 is back.
Listing your house on the market isn't the only way to sell your house. Selling to us is much faster, easier, and way more convenient. Want to know how? If you need to sell your house for any reason, click the link in this video to see if my offer is right for you. We make the process of selling your house easy and simple. No commissions, no fees. We'll buy your house in as-is condition, and you pick the closing date. No appraisals, no repairs, no hassles. All offers are completely confidential, and there is no obligation whatsoever. Click the link in this video and fill out a short survey so we can make you a cash offer. If you are struggling to sell your house, this is the fastest and easiest way to get money in your pocket ASAP. And yes, we will really buy your house in any condition. We've dealt with it all. Click the link now to see how much cash you can get for your house today. Best case scenario, you get rid of a huge pain in your butt in record time with a nice chunk of change in your pocket. What do you have to lose? Click the link and answer a few questions to get your cash offer now.
Join Google Fi Wireless and get $800 off Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra with $300 off instantly. Get more done with one simple ask with help from your own virtual assistant. Plus, stay ahead with insightful tips throughout your day. Order Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra and save $800.
In the fucking news, a character we seem to be unable to stop talking about because she's so relevant and so incredible. Haley Welch, aka the Hawk to a Girl, who's now I feel bad for. In all honesty, I've totally flipped, dude. She's like Rip Van Winkle. She woke up from her long nap, wasn't quite 20 years or however long Rip Van Winkle was asleep. If that even is the same guy, right?
Anywho, I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
She returned from her very long nap and is back. She uploaded a podcast with FaZe Banks, incriminating herself, talking about her mistake with crypto, and it included crying, tips and tricks, a whole lot of nothing. She had expressed deep regret and a commitment to rectify the situation, but very clearly it was nonsense, and she's surrounding herself with a bunch of, knuckle dragging troglodytes on whatever the crypto shit. I don't know, dude.
I want to start by saying thank you to all my true fans and all the people that actually watch my stuff and they keep up with me. We're trying to sort out all the pieces and stuff to like get all this figured out and make everything right. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
Don't cry. Don't cry. It's gonna be good. We're gonna be good.
She attributed the entire failure and scamming of her audience to a naivete and misplaced trust in her collaborators. So blamed it on everybody but herself, which honestly, it makes sense. It makes sense. She does not seem like a particularly intelligent individual, someone who is capable of making decisions for herself. And that's mean to say, but it's definitely true. And when you become famous, I'm sure the amount of attention you get from the side of people wanting to do things, JVs, ventures, business shit with you is probably overwhelming. And she's from the Deep South. She's a crack baby, I think. Like, she says that. She brags about being a crack baby. So, I kind of feel bad for her at this point. I really do. I genuinely feel bad for Haley Welch. It sucks because there's so many other people who are more cognizant and more intelligent, at least they appear more intelligent, who have done the same thing and have gotten less of a rap about it, which is fucked up, unfortunate, sad. Like fucking Caitlyn Jenner. How about that? How about say sorry for? I'm just saying, if I rear-ended somebody and they died, I'd feel really bad about it forever, and all I would ever do is just, I'd myself. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I'd probably myself. So, anyways, Haley Welch has now returned in the form of a comedic, incredibly funny Instagram post, genuinely hilarious stuff. Quality writing. Oh, she's got that Jake Paul podcast writing team on the hook with this thing. The post involves a makeshift cross with Rip Haley Welch.
Haley Welch dead.
The Hawk to a Girl had died.
With articles attached and editing showing news articles of her rumors of her death, because apparently it's hilarious that people are rumor milling that she's died, which I don't find that funny at all. I want to put my foot down and let you guys know I may be the purveyor of slop on this new Slop 60 segment of the Too Late Show live. It's not live, but whatever the I'm trying to say here, I don't stand for that. We can't do that. As a society, we've got to come together. The Beatles said that shit a long time ago, dude, and they were right about everything except for John Lennon and that Yoko. Afterward, the video has her sit up like she's having a nightmare before realizing it was only a dream and going back to sleep. And then it continues a few more times with nightmares of her being pregnant, with more news headlines flashing on the screen. And the last is her in prison. Again, articles flashing on the screen talking about the possibility of going to jail. All of these are set up like she's just experiencing a nightmare. The Rolodex of realities flashing through her epic marketing comeback. The video then ends with her friend talking to her saying,
We got stuff today. Come on, Haley, wake up. We got stuff today, all right? Get your ass up.
When you live with diabetes, progress is having your coffee like you like it, without an audience. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor tracks your glucose in real time, so everyone else doesn't have to. And over time, it can help lower your A1C.
Confident choices for more control of your life. This is progress. Learn more and try for free at freestylelibre.us.
Stop it.
We got podcasts to talk on for. Come on, now hell to get up. We got shit we gotta fucking do, bud. We gotta build stuff, products in the creator economy. All right.
I do actually feel bad for Haley Welch at this point. Like, genuinely, I feel a level of sadness whenever I think about her lot in life. It's very upsetting to me. I'm an extremely empathetic individual. You know, I spend a lot of time thinking about those who have less than I do. And that was a long-winded explanation of a few seconds of footage, but it's just her announcing that she's back from a long break. The long break, obviously, because she scammed a bunch of people with crypto, allegedly, due to her companions or compatriots or something like that. She's disposing rumors that she's not dead. She's disposing the rumors that she's dead. I'm not pregnant, and I'm not in prison yet. Now, I'm no lawyer, but there's got to be some kind of repercussion. Maybe that is the repercussion, is just being whipping bullied by the internet. That could be kind of, an epic L. It seems like to me she hasn't seen any justice, but she's definitely suffered emotionally, which may be enough, may not be enough. I feel bad for her, in all honesty. I feel like she genuinely had no idea what was going on at this point. That might change a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. But the whole podcast thing with FaZe Banks or whatever, I mean, that was a bad look. That just makes you seem like you are a bad person and you want to scam more people, in fact. And then FaZe Banks is like, yo, I just want a pipe, dude. He's such a fool. It's crazy. So yeah, good news, guys. Haley Welch is coming back, and she's going to be back doing what she loves the most. This time, though, not stealing money through crypto. She's going to be making awesome content. She's got a huge project. What's the project? She's the topic of an up-and-coming documentary. She's the focal point of the fucking documentary. I'm not sure how or why that's possible. Make a documentary. Find a random homeless guy. If it'll be better than this. I mean, what are you talking about, dude? Nothing about her life is interesting enough to deserve a documentary. She got clowned on. Everything we already know, it's all there. But it's apparently in the works, whatever. I'm not sure how they're going to end it with a fucking crypto scam. That is a definite hero's journey, though, I think. The producer and CEO of the group Bungalow Media Plus Entertainment, fellow by the name of Bob Friedman, states that the story of her life is interesting, and that's all from a single sentence and no social media presence whatsoever. And the fact that saying hook to a spin on that thing, that being a single sentence, no social media presence whatsoever, she was able to build fame and fortune in a record time from the ground up. Apparently that cements her status in the pop culture lexicon. Talks about how it's an inspiring tale and story of her journey and her navigating the risks and rewards of social media. It's bullshit. This is real, though? Total bullshit. I don't fucking understand at all what's going on, who thought this was a good idea, who signed off on this. Who the dude, come on! I'm going to get my 19th century, I'm going to get my 19th century rapier, and I'm going to cavalry charge. I'm going to lead a cavalry charge into Hollywood, all right? And it's just going to be cosplay. I'm not going to do anything bad, obviously. I'm not a threat. Just a jokester. I'm not a threat, I'm just a funny little guy. All right. I'm not a threat, I'm just a funny little guy. This documentary, though, it's real. She talked about sucking on a YouTube channel. She's crass and gross and, just normal looking. And now she's hated, but also loved somehow. I have no idea. Also, she said on record she hated being known for the hook to a spin on that long, juicy, whatever she originally said. I don't know the exact quote. And she wanted that footage deleted after it went viral. But all of a sudden, she's raking in a fortune to now having a documentary in it. Dude, it's crazy, man. The article is very strange. It's a weird puff piece to try to sell the documentary, which we'll all be watching. I will absolutely be watching it, and I can't believe the time that we're living in right now. It's unbelievable. Historians could not have predicted this in a million years. There's no way. I don't know. The indecipherable parables of humanity are unfolding in front of our very eyes. We're living in the Old Testament times 2. It's just more granular and nebulous, and it's on X instead of in Judea. Anyways, that has been Slop 60. If you enjoyed, press the like down below. Whatever the else, I don't really know. Go to the Gump Club, gump.club, to get some behind-the-scenes footage. We do a bunch of cool shit. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 Central Standard, tune in to the Too Late Show Live. Oh, it's gonna be really fun. We're gonna have a lot of fun very soon. Press the like button. I'll see you guys.
The cheek-to-cheek smile combined with the empty, soulless eyes, the attention to detail, the perfect hair, the perfect jawline, the perfect appearance. This is just a facade to convince the world he is this successful, happy-go-lucky guy who is actually extremely disturbed and thinks about harming others 24/7. This is what a psychopath looks like. But this is a fictional character played by actor Christian Bale in the movie American Psycho. And Bale said that the inspiration for this character was the real-life Tom Cruise, whose empty laugh, intensity, and robotic physical movements are on full display in this 1996 interview with Rosie O'Donnell.
But you saw her at Gen Con, right?
Yes.
And you thought, I like her.
Yeah, I thought she's very talented.
Yeah, she's talented. I knew all these supposed to be great.
Yeah, she's extraordinary.
She's coming on this show.
I know, she was
a couple days, yeah. No, I like her, I do, it's okay. It's Renee I was upset with. It's Renee in the movie with all that kissing with you, Tom, I didn't like that.
However, the actual interview that inspired the American Psycho character was this one with David Letterman, where Tom Cruise laughed uncontrollably while telling the story of him cutting off his co-pilot's oxygen as they flew to dangerous altitude levels.
One time we were flying to Colorado, and I was flying this airplane that we had to go on oxygen, and the winds were better at a higher altitude, so we climbed up. And I realized that we couldn't stay at that altitude if on oxygen. I had to descend because I didn't have enough oxygen. So I had a passenger in the back, so we figured out, me and the co-pilot, that if we turned the oxygen off the back guy, that we could make it at this altitude. So, it wasn't dangerous or anything, So I don't know what happened when he turned his oxygen off. He was very quiet.
Letterman didn't seem to think this story was as funny as Tom thought it was.
He fell asleep. He slept the whole way. But it's the kind of guy you wanted to have to sleep the whole way.
But honestly, looking at it from another direction, isn't that attempted manslaughter? You just turn a guy's oxygen off? You're lucky you're not doing crime, for the love of God.
You did wake up, yeah. When we were landing on the set,
As the passenger blacked out after being oxygen deprived for several minutes, Tom finds it hysterical how confused the man was when he regained consciousness, feeling numb and disoriented.
He said my hands are tingling. I said, no, what is that? Must have been the way I was laying.
Now, some people look at this as nothing more than dark humor. The guy was fine. It was just a harmless prank. But maybe Christian Bale was actually onto something. And no, I'm not suggesting Tom Cruise is actually a serial murderer or enjoys the suffering of others, but he does have an obvious dark side. one that seems to be ignored by the masses. While they praise him for his box office hits and incredible stunts, Tom credits Scientology as the reason why he is so successful. Scientology is the quote-unquote religion that thrives on forced labor, signing its members to 1 billion year contracts, having an alleged torture camp called The Hole, among other horrible allegations from former members. Tom is so dedicated to this religion, he abandoned his own 7-year-old daughter and has not seen her in over a decade. Today, we're going to deep dive into the career of Tom Cruise and try to assess why he is so loyal to the shadowy world of Scientology. Tom Cruise's life started out as an abused child who was desperate for a purpose. Cruise has described his father as a merchant of chaos who was a bully and a coward. For me, it was like, there's something wrong with this guy. Don't trust him. Be careful around him. You can imagine that not being able to trust your own father when you are a toddler created a difficult and chaotic environment for Cruise. Additionally, when Cruise was 7 years old, he was diagnosed with dyslexia, which made him feel even more isolated and confused. His father could never hold a steady job, which led to the family moving often. They moved from Syracuse, New York to Ottawa, Canada in 1971 when Tom was in 3rd grade. By the 6th grade, his parents got divorced, and his mother moved Tom and his sisters down to Louisville, Kentucky. According to Shane Dempler, a friend that went to school with Tom in Louisville, Tom was interested in becoming a Catholic priest. He had a very strong Catholic faith. Dempler said, "We went to Mass, spent time in the chapel, and enjoyed hearing stories from the priests. We thought the priests had a great lifestyle, and we were really interested in priesthood." Unfortunately, the boys were kicked out of the school after they were caught stealing alcohol and drinking in the woods. Shane recalled, "The school wrote a letter to our parents saying they liked us both, but would prefer if we didn't return. So we weren't kicked out, just preferred not to go." From there, Tom relocated to another seminary school in Cincinnati, Ohio, after being recommended by a local priest. Tom was instantly hooked, said Father Rich Schneider, who gave the speech that brought Cruise to seminary school. "I think he wanted a good education. With his parents going through a divorce, it was tough on him. That's maybe one of the reasons why he came here." His time in Cincinnati did not last long, as his family would ultimately relocate again to Glen Ridge, New Jersey, where he finished high school. After graduation, Tom knew acting was his future. Within his first year of auditioning for various Hollywood roles, he landed a small part in a film called Endless Love. Tom's handsome look and physique made him stand out amongst his peers, which got him an ancillary role in the film Taps. As a novice in the industry, he wanted to learn everything there was to learn about cinema.
The first film that I really got on, which was Taps, I went to every single department and I studied every part of it. Camera department, I studied lenses, lighting. I was working with a great cinematographer, Ron Roisman. I studied what producers do, what writers do, what wardrobe does, what the stunt department does, props, sound. I studied every aspect of the film.
Tom was obsessed. His work ethic gave Hollywood producers even more of a reason to invest in him. He earned another ancillary role in The Outsiders before securing his first lead role in the 1983 hit Risky Business. Risky Business is an 80s mood film that appealed to teenagers at the time. Every generation has a few cult classic coming-of-age films that are not cinematic masterpieces with intricate plots, but capture somewhat of a realistic look of the aesthetic, attitudes, and behaviors of the kids who grew up in that era. The film grossed $60 million at the box office, and he stole the hearts of young people in the USA. Even at the young age of 19, Tom was mature beyond his years, which can be felt during this 1983 interview with Bobby Wygant.
What do directors, how do they direct you? Do they work with you a lot, or do they pretty much give you rein?
Yeah, they leave you alone. The director, good director will listen, trust his artists after casting them. I've been fortunate. I've really had a lot of room with directors that I've worked with.
Tom holds a very controlled, poised demeanor. Even if he glares at you for a second, you can feel his intensity. He quickly shifts from high-energy laughter to extremely soft-spoken. Tom continued his trajectory as a rising star in Hollywood, and in 1986 he would land a lead role in a classic film that would officially secure him a 40-year legacy. It also ushered him into the controversial Church of Scientology. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Week 2 of the NFL is here, and Underdog wants to make it a lot more exciting. Join the millions of fans that played on Underdog last year. With their pick'em game, you could win money by making picks on your favorite players. You could win up to 1000x your money just by choosing higher or lower on player stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and much more. Create entries of only NFL picks or mix and match across your other favorite sports. Underdog is available in 30 plus states, including California, Florida, and Texas. Here are my picks for tonight's game, and if they hit, I'll 6x my money. New customers can pair their picks with this Josh Allen free pick. All he needs is 1 yard for this pick to win. Underdog is dropping a promo every day in September, so keep an eye on your lobby. Underdog is the place to play, so sign up and deposit now using promo code PatrickCC to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick. Thanks, Underdog. In the 1980s, the U.S. was exhausting all of its resources to push military propaganda and program young men for war. G.I. Joe, cap guns, Little Green Army Men, Boy Scouts were surging in popularity, and of course, the seemingly endless list of 1980s war movies. Writer Jerry Bruckheimer capitalized on the pro-military trend by focusing on the high-octane, action-packed jobs of fighter pilots. Originally, Tom did not want to participate in the film.
We were turned down by Tom Cruise over and over again, but we arranged with the Blue Angels back in, I guess, 85 to take him up in a jet. And he came down, he had a great ride, walked to a payphone, called me up and said, Jerry, I'm in.
Tom Cruise played the role of the charismatic fighter pilot Pete Maverick Mitchell, an all-American patriot who oozes masculinity and charm. The film was a blockbuster hit, earning $357 million at the worldwide box office. Tom Cruise was a pop culture superstar. Aviator sunglasses became status quo late 80s fashion because of him, and the US military had its last year of positive growth after the movie was released. But behind the scenes, Tom was actually struggling. When I was 22, when I was making Top Gun, I got the chance to make my dream come true to become a pilot. I thought, this is the time to do it. So I had a couple of lessons, but then I blew it off. I tried to concentrate on what I was reading. Then I'd get to the end of the page and have very little memory of anything I read. I would go blank, feel anxious, nervous, bored, frustrated, dumb. I graduated high school in 1980, but I didn't even go to my graduation. I was a functioning illiterate. I loved learning. I wanted to learn, but I knew I had failed in the system. In 1986, the year Top Gun came out, I became a Scientologist. A friend gave me a picture book on Scientology, and through this, I was introduced to the writings of L. Ron Hubbard, who had founded the religion. Mr. Hubbard was also an educator who had been researching the field for decades. He had found that literacy and comprehension levels were declining worldwide, so in the 1960s, he had developed study technology. It pinpoints 3 barriers to learning: lack of mass. You can't learn to fly a plane by just reading about it. You have to sit in the cockpit or at least have a picture of a plane. Skipped gradients, trying to master skills or information without mastering or understanding that which comes before them, and misunderstood words, the most important one and cause for stupidity. Once I started focusing on those problems, everything fell into place. Cruise credits Scientology with helping him overcome his learning disability. He is one of the church's most high-profile followers and has become a spokesperson for the organization. However, his close friendship with David Miscavige, the current leader of Scientology, has placed him at the center of several controversies, as well as questioned his legacy as a whole. Scientology is a religion that many consider to be a cult created by science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard. According to the Church of Scientology, Ron was a highly trained lieutenant commander in the U.S. Navy, who became a war hero that sunk a Japanese submarine, as well as a Purple Heart Award winner due to suffering blinding and crippling injuries through the course of combat in the Second World War. One medical report describes Hubbard as suffering a severe bone infection in the hip and back, forcing him to walk with a cane. Another shows his vision registered at 2100, which, according to medical review, meant that he could not distinguish facial features until 3 or 4 feet away, could not make out a street sign beyond 10 yards, and could not read a newspaper. Whereas the official U.S. Navy documents say that he was not qualified to be a lieutenant commander, he never received a Purple Heart, categorized his injuries as being exposed to light for too long and spraining his ankle, to which they prescribed him dark glasses and declared him ready for duty, as well as analyzed all potential evidence surrounding him sinking a Japanese ship, only for them to find that there was no submarine in the area at the time. Due to the conflicting information, we don't really know the truth about his time spent in the military. What we do know is that he was an incredibly proficient and fast writer. Hubbard holds the Guinness World Record for the most published works by one author. Battlefield Earth, To the Stars, When Shadows Fall, Typewriter in the Sky are just a few of his fantasy alternate world fiction stories. Although he published books at an incredible rate, there seems to be a quantity over quality issue, because he was never able to make a financial living off of his work. There have been extensive studies and multiple sources that have corroborated this L. Ron Hubbard quote. He told us that writing science fiction for about a penny a word was no way to make a living. If you really want to make $1 million, he said, the quickest way is to start your own religion. If this quote is true, that would insist that a science fiction writer came up with a silly idea for a religion to get rich, and people happened to buy into it. As Hubbard struggled to sell his books and begged the Veterans Association to increase his monthly allowance so he could pay his bills, he began developing his next big book, Dianetics, The Modern Science of Mental Health. Dianetics is one of the fundamental pillars of Scientology that is still practiced to this day, nearly 75 years later. Since there was very little to no attention on the importance of maintaining positive mental health in the 1950s, the book became popular quickly, selling over 150,000 copies in its first year, earning Hubbard over $1 million. However, Hubbard's system faced a lot of criticism from doctors and psychologists. They say he lacked scientific evidence and empirical data, and he was using pseudo-scientific concepts to prove his nonsensical ideas. But then Hubbard played the conspiracy card. He convinced his followers that the only reason actual scientists didn't agree with his teachings was because psychologists, pharmaceutical companies, and the medical industry as a whole would lose billions of dollars if they acknowledged that Dianetics was the cure for all psychological pain. Additionally, Hubbard started to expand Dianetics into a broader spiritual belief system, which eventually led to the creation of Scientology in 1953. Hubbard did not complete his college education, nor did he spend years studying any field of medicine or health whatsoever, but he does claim that he cured himself from arthritis, bursitis, blindness, ulcers, and even the common cold, and he was able to do that through Dianetics. Dianetics theory describes the human mind as two parts, the conscious analytical mind and the subconscious reactive mind. Hubbard's beliefs were very similar to Sigmund Freud's theory of the unconscious mind and his understanding of how suppressed memories can shape an individual's behavior. However, in Hubbard's theory, all psychological pain and the mental and physical health problems that come from that were a form of memory known as engrams, which are stored in the reactive mind. While Dianetics focused on improving the mind, Scientology took things further by introducing the idea of the Thetan, an immortal spiritual being that lives inside every person. Hubbard believed that each person is actually a Thetan with limitless potential, but this potential is blocked by negative experiences or engrams that have built up over many lifetimes. Scientology, therefore, became a way to free the Thetan from these engrams, allowing the person to achieve spiritual freedom and reach their full potential. This process is known as going clear, which is the ultimate goal of someone practicing Dianetics. Once someone goes clear, they can then move on to higher levels of spiritual awareness and power, known as the operating Thetan levels. These levels are supposed to give the person more control over themselves and the world around them. Powers such as telepathy, exteriorization, which is the ability to separate from the body with full perception, telekinesis, the ability to move objects with thought. Where most religions focus on a servitude towards a god or a higher power, Scientology kind of does the exact opposite. And although they don't say it specifically, they essentially believe that they are gods or that they can become gods. Tom Cruise is known for reaching extraordinary levels of human excellence, such as learning how to become a fighter pilot or climbing the tallest building in the world without any sort of harness or rope, among his endless list of other incredible stunts he has performed. It's safe to assume that Tom Cruise believes that going clear has allowed him to accomplish these incredible feats. However, the process of going clear is pretty intense and also costs a lot of money. To go clear, a trained auditor helps a person go through their past experiences to find and deal with the engrams that are holding them back. This process often involves using something called an e-meter, a device that measures the electrical resistance of the skin, which is believed to show the presence of engrams. Auditors use the e-meter to track a person's progress and help them find and resolve deep-rooted negative experiences. A person during an auditing session would be instructed to hold two metal cylinders connected to the e-meter, which sends a small electrical current through their body. The e-meter then measures changes in the electrical resistance, which Scientologists believe show changes in the person's mental and spiritual state. The auditor uses these readings to guide the person through questions, but these questions that they ask are often very leading and intended to poke and prod at the deepest, darkest secrets held in your mind and soul. When you learn about how these auditing sessions are done and the types of questions that they ask, you'll see how it almost comes off like an interrogation or a way to give personal information to an organization that could be potentially later used against you.
Yeah, so here's even how a Scientology auditor believes it works. You're holding cans, there's a tiny little battery in that e-meter that's sending, you're completing the circuit when you pick up the cans, right? So you got a little thing going there, and that needle will respond to your physical movement, but that's not what we want. And I'm gonna go, is there something you're withholding from me? And what I'm looking for is, right when I say at the end of me, I'm looking for the needle to dip to the right. So I'll give you a really good example of this. So you're holding the cans, and say, is there anything you're withholding from me? And I get an instant read. And I go, is there anything you're withholding from me? You're going, I don't think so. And I don't see the needle. No, you don't see the needle. I go, well, what did you think of when I asked you the question? Okay, so you're going to go, I don't know what I was thinking of. And I'm going to be like, take a look and I'll help you out here. I'll try to steer you. Okay, so I'm looking to get roughly the same read while you're thinking about whatever. Well, what was that? What was that right there? And you can start digging to what? You can start, I just want an answer to the question. Okay, and I can go to memory. Yeah, and you can give me any answer you want. There's no way for me to know if you're giving me the right answer, but I want you to give me something. Yeah. If you say you can't give me anything, I'm going to keep using the email until you give me something. Yeah. Okay, so let's say you give me something. I'm going to get all the details about that, and until like time, place, form, and event, I want to know everything that happened. I want to know all the details. By the way, I'm writing all this down, so I'm taking notes of everything you're telling me that it's a bad thing that you did that you haven't told me about. Okay, so I'm keeping notes. When you represent to me that you've told me everything there is to tell, I'm looking for the needle to give like a smooth back and forth motion like this. And Scientology call that a floating needle. That means, in Scientology land, we're done with that.
Now, many people argue that the e-meter is not exactly scientifically proven to really do anything. It does measure some sort of electrical current that takes place in your body and mind, and it is somehow connected, but we can't prove that it indicates anything about mental health or your physical or emotional well-being. Many people look at it as nothing more than hypnosis, and many believe that the auditing process is strategically designed to make people think that it's actually doing something positive in their life.
Being a victim is despised in Scientology because of something called the tone scale. Tone scale is sort of an emotional ranking of a person, and it goes from -40 to 40. Now 0 is death and 0.1 is victim. It is seen as a bad thing to even feel any negative emotions in Scientology because Scientologists believe that if bad things happen to you, it's because you have done something bad to deserve it. It all felt like emotional torture.
So you can see how this is kind of a dangerous gray area. On one hand, the goal of the therapy sessions is for you to feel better, for you to cope with all of your past trauma and your negativity, and for that to then release and have positive ramifications on your life. Then the other hand is like, well, no, you're not actually solving these problems. You're just being tricked into thinking that you're solving these problems. And then you have to pay for more auditing sessions for you to keep solving these problems. And we'll go deeper into the financial component of all of this in a minute. But in the late 80s and early 90s, Tom Cruise wasn't overtly public about his Scientology ties as he was still growing his career. After Top Gun, he continued to have an incredible run in Hollywood. The Color of Money, Cocktail, Rain Man, Days of Thunder, A Few Good Men, The Firm, hit after hit after hit. Everything that Tom Cruise starred in was a box office smash. In 1988, he was the highest grossing box office star, and to this day, he is the number 6 highest grossing actor of all time, with a combined total of $12 billion generated. He was a convincing leading man who does all of his own stunts. He had near perfect looks. On set, he was known to be honest, humble, and a genuine person. He was considered by many to be the perfect human, yet somehow still very mysterious.
You've got one of the nicest reputations in Hollywood. I mean, everyone who interviews you says, hands down, you are polite and giving. But I've interviewed you a lot of times, and you don't let people real close. How come?
I think I'm letting him pretty close.
Do you feel like you hold something back or you protect something?
Yeah, I mean, doing this, to help promote the films. I mean, I really don't hold back that much when you ask me. But I mean, there is a certain, certain things that I really don't want to talk about, and certain things that really aren't important, aren't important for people to hear. I really don't even think they want to hear.
In the early 90s, Tom began speaking about the Church of Scientology more publicly.
Tom, let me try to understand. The Church of Scientology. Is this something that feeds you spiritually, or is it a technique that just helps your mind? Is it a religion?
Yeah, I mean, by definition, it is a religion.
And is it for you? Does it help you in a spiritual way?
Yeah, but the thing is that it's not a matter of being fed something. And it is not someone telling you how to live your life. It is not someone feeding you what is real for them. It is what is real for you. It is a self-exploration.
Does it bother you that it is considered so controversial, that it is considered a cult, that it has been investigated? I'm not telling you anything you don't know.
No, it doesn't. For me, I don't care. It doesn't affect me at all. It doesn't matter to me. Whatever anybody thinks or what they don't know, I know what I know.
He still seemed to be reserved, not willing to go into immense detail about how the church functions and his role in it. In 1986, L. Ron Hubbard died, and David Miscavige was named chairman of the board or the leader of Scientology in 1987.
At 2,000 hours Friday, the 24th of January, AD 36, L. Ron Hubbard discarded the body he had used in this lifetime for 74 years, 10 months, and 11 days. The body he had used to facilitate his existence in this messed universe had ceased to be useful, and in fact, had become an impediment to the work he now must do outside of its confines.
In 1993, Scientology became a recognized religion in the United States, which dramatically increased its legitimacy. For many years, the IRS refused to grant Scientology this status because of the concerns about its financial practices and whether it was really qualified as a religion. The Church of Scientology fought back by filing many lawsuits against the IRS and reportedly harassed IRS officials. Finally, in 1993, after years of conflict, the IRS granted Scientology tax-exempt status, recognizing it as a religious organization. This decision was highly controversial and led to widespread criticism, with many people believing that the IRS had been pressured into making the decision. And as you'll learn in a bit, Scientologists go to extreme lengths to gather sensitive information about others. Many speculate that they pressured, blackmailed, and threatened to expose government officials until they were granted tax-exempt status. But that's all conspiracy. This status allowed Scientology to operate as a nonprofit, which means it doesn't have to pay federal income taxes nor property taxes, and has allowed them to accumulate massive wealth. It is estimated that the church has generated between $1 and $3 billion. But how did they get that money? Well, first of all, donating money to a church or a religion is very common. Scientology happens to strategically recruit members of mass wealth, celebrities, Hollywood superstars, so it's safe to assume that those people are donating potentially millions of dollars. However, the auditing sessions are also very costly. Remember, the main goal or the point of being a Scientologist is to go clear. However, there are levels or goals that you essentially rank up to along the way. These are called operating thetan levels or OT levels, which are the goals that you hit before reaching the bridge to total freedom. Each spiritual level has an estimated real cost that it would take to reach it. Costs can vary considerably depending on the needs of the individual, but it is speculated that somebody would be paying well over $100,000 into potentially $500,000 in auditing sessions to reach clear.
Finish a course or an auditing action. You're not allowed to finish it until you read. A success story on how great it was and how it changed your life and how you would want other people to have that. Now, if you're like, I'm not really feeling it. You're like, oh, you're not? We're going to have to go back and see what's wrong with your last level. And that costs you more money.
Hop on the lobotomy machine, my friend.
The beatings will continue until morale improves. But you get to the point where it literally costs you more money to say that thing didn't give you exactly what you hoped it would. So you're trained to lie to yourself just to save money. And then you get up and you lie to everyone else to get them to do it as well.
You can also pay money in advance to the church for them to hold it and keep it as almost like a bank account for auditing sessions in your next life.
They're good people, and they're being defrauded out of their life savings. I mean, it costs $250,000 easy to be assigned.
How do these people though that like aren't like who don't have a lot of money? How do people afford that?
That's the thing. It's amazing. It shows you the ability of someone who has a belief and a faith that they're doing amazing things. They work to pay for their religion. They live below their means to pay for their religion.
It is impossible to advance in the religion without completing the required courses and auditing sessions. No other modern religion with a congregation size comparable to that of the Church of Scientology mandates recurring payments to merely participate. Yet, Scientology's entire foundation and religious ideology is built upon these required payments from parishioners. Additionally, the Church of Scientology saves an enormous amount of money in labor costs because they pay their employees or volunteers next to nothing, a mere $50 per week stipend. However, many of them are okay with this form of payment as they have become fully dependent on the Church of Scientology in every aspect of their lives.
This organization is the most dedicated version, the most dedicated brand of Scientologists. So there's three echelons of Scientologists. There's public, who just live normal lives in the real world and they pay to do Scientology courses and audit. Then there's staff members who also live in the real world, but work on 2.5-year contracts or 5-year contracts at their local Scientology organization. And then once they finish their contract, their debt is paid or whatever. And then there's the Sea Org members. These are the guys who sign the billion-year contracts. They don't have lives in the outside world. They don't own property. They live in Scientology-provided housing. They eat Scientology-run cafeterias.
Their actual contract that says a billion years.
It's symbolic, but yes. No, it's not a legally enforceable contract.
According to L. Ron Hubbard, the Sea Org initially operated on 3 real ships, the Diana, the Athena, and the Apollo, which Hubbard used to spread the teachings of his new religion. According to Hubbard, much of the galaxy, including Earth, was ruled tens of millions of years ago by the Galactic Confederacy, controlled by a tyrant named Xenu. Xenu was eventually overthrown by a group with the Confederacy known as the Loyal Officers, and Sea Org is modeled after these loyal officers. Sea Org members are considered the most dedicated Scientologists, signing 1 billion-year contracts to serve the church across multiple lifetimes. Many join at a young age, some even as children, and endure a rigorous lifestyle that includes up to 100-hour work weeks, strict discipline, and a $50 per week wage. They do not have relationships or communication with the outside world. They are not allowed to have children. They eat, sleep, and breathe solely for the purpose of Scientology. They do normal jobs, just like any other business, but they are assigned to them like a military post. You have the treasury, which consists of people who receive, collect, and invoice money, pay bills, manage assets. You also have sales representatives who get people to sign up for the religion. You have a promotional team who sends out flyers, emails, and advertisements for the church. You also have auditors and the people who train the auditors and the people who monitor the people who are training the auditors. And then the people who get members to pay for the auditing sessions and constantly pester members to sign up for more auditing sessions. If any, and I mean any task, no matter how small it is, that they were assigned to get done is not done by the end of the day, they will not stop working. Whether your task is to organize thousands of files by hand, or sign someone up for an auditing session, or merely just dust the floor, if the task is not done, you don't stop working. In 1975, Sea Org transitioned to land-based operations by
Get who gets you. eHarmony.
I decided to partner with Hero to try and test their newest products.
Hero's Mighty Pack for tired eyes.
And bright eyes illuminating eye.
These tired eyes patches help depuff and revive my under eye.
I love how big this eye patch is and how it covers your entire under eye section. Hero's Under Eye Cream definitely gave my under eyes a nice finish, illuminating tint.
It makes me feel refreshed and just ready to take on the day.
2000, the number of Sea Org members was estimated at around 5,800. Most members now live in church complexes around the world, including locations in Los Angeles, Florida, Copenhagen, London, and Sydney, with some assigned to smaller centers or acting as missionaries. And still to this day, there are many people that live and work on the Sea Organization motor vessel Free Winds. Scientology reports that they have millions of members worldwide, and that is this rapidly growing religion that people love. But most of these buildings are vastly empty, and it seems like they really don't have that many members, potentially in the ballpark of 40,000 people. There are countless stories of former members who have escaped Scientology, who have often described themselves as being trapped in a cult. Leah Remini is an actress and former Scientologist who escaped and has dedicated a good part of her life to expose the horrors of life as a member. We have heard stories of mind control, to forced labor, to sexual assault and abuse, to a secret prison camp called The Hole, where disgraced members of the church are sent to effectively be tortured.
Describe it for us.
It had bars in the windows, and the one entrance was guarded by security 24 hours a day. The hole basically was some kind of a sling term that had been coined long before I got there, and it was where you ate there, you slept there on the floor, and you never left with the exception of a brief period to go take a shower.
When you say slept there on the floor, did you have cots or bunks or some kind of beds?
No, you slept there. You were sleeping bag, you slept on the floor and sleeping bag.
And what were the conditions like on the floor to sleep?
Well, there were ants, the place was infested by ants, so ants would crawl on you. And there was a 2-week period during that time when all the electricity had been shut off. It was ordered by Mr. Miscavige, and this was, of course, in summer in the desert, and so the temperature in there was about 106.
Why didn't you just take off and get away from the hole?
Not possible. Absolutely not physically possible. Make it past security, the windows were barred. Right from the beginning when I went in, I obviously was trying to figure out, plotting how to get out.
Were you used to, in your life, getting beaten up? Was that something you were used to?
Yeah, never.
You were a 40-something-year-old woman with a very, very respected job.
Any and all accusations of major or minor misconduct within the church has been vehemently denied. They have never been tried or found guilty of committing any sort of crime. However, one form of justice they did admit to doing is called overboarding. which in the days of L. Ron Hubbard sailing the Mediterranean in his fleet of ships consisted of throwing members off the ship into the ocean. According to author Janet Reitman, the modern version of this justice consisted of going outdoors in the middle of the night and assembling at the base's swimming pool or its muddy lake. Members would then jump or be pushed into the water, often in freezing conditions, while fully clothed and with Miscavige watching. Church lawyer Monique Yingling said overboarding is a part of ecclesiastical justice. They're not backing away from it or ashamed of it, she said. It has been done hundreds of times with precautions taken to make it safe. Scientology has a no-tolerance policy on anyone who criticizes or attacks their practices. It is often referred to as attack the attacker. The procedure is as follows. Spot who is attacking us, start investigating them promptly for felonies or worse using own professionals, not outside agencies. Double curve our reply by saying we welcome an investigation of them. Start feeding lurid, blood, sex, crime, actual evidence on attackers to the press. You can get reasonable about it and lose. Sure, we break no laws. Sure, we have nothing to hide. But attackers are simply an anti-Scientology propaganda agency so far as we are concerned. They have proven they want no facts and will only lie no matter what they discover. So banish all ideas that any fair hearing is intended and start our attack with their first breath. Never wait, never talk about us, only them. Use their blood, sex, crime to get headlines. Don't use us.
There's a process called noisy investigation. It's written up in Scientology and approved by Rob Hubbard.
With the help of Zero's small business accounting software, I've got the right information at my fingertips. So business is a breeze. And I've got bigger plans. Search Zero with an X. Introducing Domino's new Parmesan stuffed crust pizza. If you love our buttery tasting pan pizza, just imagine it's stuffed with melty cheese and finished with garlic seasoning and real Parmesan. Carry out any one-topping Parmesan stuffed crust pizza for $9.99 each from Domino's.
And what a Scientology agent will do is they'll get a list of everybody you know, including your doctor, your dentist, your travel agent, whoever, your friends, your family. They will then contact every person on the list, whether directly or on the phone, and say, we're gathering information about John Atack or whoever, and their criminal background. We found out some really interesting things already. I had this done to me, and my mother-in-law, one of my brothers-in-law, decided to talk to the private detective who'd been sent over from Los Angeles. He travelled as far as Australia to find people who'd known me. It was put about that I was a recovered heroin addict. I'd never taken heroin in my life. I was a rapist. I'd attempted murder. I'd molested children. These are standard stories that are told about critics of Scientology. They're made up.
Check out this entire YouTube channel that creates high production value interviews, all dedicated to saying negative things about ex-Scientology members who are now speaking out. Aaron Smith Levins, Mark and Claire Headley, and of course Leah Remini. They even get family members to speak about how violent, abusive, and horrible these ex-members are. I'm sure many of you know that the Scientology iceberg is extremely deep. This information just scratches the surface, but it's important to understand a simple breakdown of this, as it is effectively Tom Cruise's belief system. And since Tom is one of the biggest outspoken activists supporting Scientology, his support gives them an enormous amount of legitimacy since he is a beloved superstar worldwide. Every time they open a new church, they invite Tom to give a speech at the grand opening.
Our kids need help. This world needs help. The kind of help where people can help themselves. Now, I have and will continue to dedicate my life to accomplishing this. And I am supremely grateful to Mr. L. Ron Hubbard for the study technology he provided, because I would not be here today if I didn't get that. And I am honored to be part of the Applied Scholastics movement, because I know now that I can truly help. And so can you.
But regardless of his ties to the controversial church, Tom continued to have rampant success in Hollywood. The Firm, Jerry Maguire, Mission Impossible, which became a 7-part series that defined his career as a stuntman. He learned how to skydive, fly, and put in the homework to make a role look realistic. He also had Eyes Wide Shut, Magnolia, The Last Samurai, and Minority Report to prove that he wasn't just a one-trick pony who does heroic action films. However, with the extreme rise of tabloid culture, publications were interested in poking and prodding around the personal lives of celebrities. And since Tom was a wildly successful actor with a popular actress wife and 2 adopted children, they were a pretty good target.
We're private people. We are human beings. You know, we are human beings. We have feelings, and more importantly than that, we have family. Now we have children. And I think that for years we were told that, just don't worry. And suddenly all these kind of rumors and gossip all of a sudden starts getting printed in, legitimate magazines. And, and I'd send letters asking for an apology. It's not true. And then you start getting letters back where they say, and I just said, you know what? I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. And it's not right. And if they're not going to be responsible, I am going to make them be responsible.
The Church of Scientology has been blamed for having a huge impact on how Tom Cruise's relationships started and ended, making people wonder just how much control it has over its most famous members. Cruise was married to actress Mimi Rogers in 1987, who was the one who actually helped convert Tom to Scientology, but by the end of 1989, Cruise had filed for divorce. According to former Scientologist Mike Rinder, who wrote about his experiences in his book, A Billion Years, My Escape from a Life in the Highest Ranks of Scientology, he claims that Scientology leader David Miscavige was heavily involved in Cruise's life at the time, even helping to facilitate Cruise's relationship with Nicole Kidman while they were filming Days of Thunder in 1990. Rinder alleges that Greg Wilher, Cruise's personal auditor from the church, was assigned to get Mimi to agree to a divorce so Tom could marry Nicole, which was highly unusual and would never have happened with a normal Scientologist. But what could Scientology's problem be with Mimi Rogers? Well, Rogers' father, Philip C. Spickler, had been closely involved with Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard, but he left the church in the early 1980s. This reportedly made Mimi Rogers herself less favorable in the eyes of Scientology's leadership, particularly David Miscavige. Morton's biography claims that the Scientology leadership felt such hostility towards Mimi's father that Mimi was stained by association.
Experience the power of AI content creation and the intelligence of AI analytics in a single solution. Adobe Gen Studio for Performance Marketing lets marketers create their own on-brand ads at unprecedented speed and scale. Real-time insights show exactly where and why your content performs, so you can optimize on the fly and launch every campaign with confidence. Deliver the high-performing experiences customers expect and drive measurable results faster. Adobe Gen Studio for Performance Marketing. AI power to empower marketers.
I really did avoid mirrors, and now I see a mirror. I'm like, hello, gorgeous.
May have contributed to David Miscavige's push for the divorce. Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman met during the filming of Days of Thunder in 1989 and married in 1990. During their marriage, Cruise became more deeply and publicly involved in Scientology. Kidman, who was raised Catholic, was not initially a member of the church, but eventually became more involved and even undergoing frequent auditing sessions. However, their relationship with the church became strained as Kidman allegedly expressed concerns about the church's influence over Cruise, as well as her not wanting her children, Isabella and Connor, who were then 8 and 6 at the time, to be raised under Scientology's teachings and methods. One former Scientologist, Teresa Summers, who raised one child inside Scientology and another outside, shared her experience with the church's practices. Summers described how the church discouraged regular medical treatment, comfort, and nurturing for children. Instead, children were expected to do physical labor and were subjected to strict educational practices that focused more on Scientology's teachings than on regular school subjects. The church was allegedly concerned that Kidman was pulling Cruise away from Scientology. After their divorce in 2001, this now iconic photo of Kidman was taken where she is seen reaching her arms out in pure joy and relief that the marriage is finally over. She also left Scientology around the same time. Unfortunately, she was not able to get her kids out, as Tom retained custody of the 2 children. In the early 2000s, more people than ever were trying to expose Scientology for what they believe it truly is. And since Tom Cruise is the most notable member, anything involving him would get more attention, more views, more clicks, etc. Like this video of him hanging out on the freeway ship celebrating his 42nd birthday.
Thank you. Just, I am not, I don't know where I am right now. You have to kind of be there to understand this reality, This is incredible. This is just, I will never, I have a thank you. Thank you. It's the best birthday ever.
Or the speech he gave when accepting Scientology's made-up Freedom Medal of Valor.
These are the times now, people. Okay? These are the times we will all remember. Were you there? What did you do? I think you know that I am there for you. And I do care so very, very, very much. So what do you say? Will you clean this place up? Huh? Guess we're carrying on.
Well, right.
But there was one video that fundamentally changed Scientology's public reputation. In this 9-minute video of what seems to be a Scientology promotion reel, Tom is ranting about Scientology with the signature Mission Impossible theme song playing in the background. And just like every other time he talks about Scientology, he says a whole lot of nothing.
You can just see the look in their eyes. You know the ones that are doing it. And you know the spectators, who are the ones that are going, well, it's easy for you, or what am I doing? And it's just, that thing is, I've canceled that in my area. It's like, man, you're either in or you're out. That spectatorism, and it's something that is, we have no time for it now. So it's our responsibility to educate, create a new reality. We have that responsibility to say, hey, this is the way it should be done. Because we do it this way and people are actually getting better. Let's get it done. Let's really get it done and have enough love, compassion, and toughness that you're going to do it. Do it right.
Trust me when I say that this entire 9-minute video is just him stringing together a bunch of vague, non-descriptive sentences that absolutely lead to no point whatsoever. This video was so confusing and so laughable that it started to turn Scientology into somewhat of a joke or a meme. It began to lose its sort of mysterious and almost cool and interesting luster, and yeah, people were just not taking it seriously anymore, like it was just a joke. To add fuel to the fire, South Park made an entire episode mocking Scientology.
It all began 75 million years ago. Back then, there was a galactic federation of planets, which was ruled over by the evil Lord Xenu. Xenu thought his galaxy was overpopulated, and so he rounded up countless aliens from all different planets, and then had those aliens frozen. Frozen alien bodies were loaded onto Xenu's galactic cruisers, which looked like DC-8s, except with rocket engines, and dumped them into the volcanoes of Hawaii. The aliens were no longer frozen, they were dead. The souls of those aliens, however, lived on, and all floated up towards the sky.
Get who gets you. eHarmony.
We're bringing spring sour blood. The church's AP shrimp, surf and turf, or fish sandwich. Xenu didn't want their souls to return, and so we built giant soul catchers in the sky. There, the souls were forced to watch days of brainwashing material, which tricked them into believing a false reality. Xenu then released the alien souls, which roamed the earth aimlessly in a fog of confusion. At the dawn of man, the souls finally found bodies which they could grab onto.
But the ironic thing was, all they did was just explain what Scientologists actually believe. Because of this episode, the Office of Special Affairs launched an investigation into Matt Stone and Trey Parker. The Scientology OSA contacted their close friends looking for any vulnerabilities to exploit. A Scientology insider leaked this disturbing information. There are some strings that will be pulled on the PRC on Stone. Otherwise, these special collections, covert information gathering such as trash collection, purchased phone records, hacked airline reservations, purchased bank records, will be debugged in order to get some viable strings that can be pulled. Despite their efforts, they were never able to find anything about Matt and Trey Parker.
When you talk about Scientology, you're used to the response that people give you, aren't you? That you're some kind of nutcase, and there's some kind of lunatic, fringe sort of religion thing.
Used to the response. I mean,
fly around in
that's
space.
bigotry.
Well,
That is the religious
just I want
equivalent of
to
racism.
point to that this is people's reaction.
No, I think maybe people say that to you. They don't say that to me.
With Scientology being scrutinized and laughed at more than ever, Tom's behavior wasn't really held worse. Like Matt Lauer wanted to learn about how Scientology affects Tom's relationships.
Katie has mentioned that she is embracing or at least exposing herself and opening herself up to Scientology. At this stage in your life, could you be with someone who doesn't have an interest?
You know, Scientology is something that you don't understand. It's like you could be a Christian and be a Scientologist. Okay, Scientology is something.
So it doesn't replace religion.
And it is a religion because it's dealing with the spirit. You know, you as a spiritual being, and it's something that there's tools that you have that can actually that you apply to your life.
They then go on to discuss when Tom Cruise criticized actress Brooke Shields for taking antidepressants for postpartum depression.
And I know that psychiatry is a pseudoscience.
But Tom, she said that this particular thing helped her feel better, whether it was the antidepressant or going to a counselor or a psychiatrist. Isn't that enough?
Now you have to understand this. Here we are today, where I talk out against drugs and psychiatric abuses of electric shocking people, okay, against their will, of drugging children with them not knowing the effects of these drugs. Do you know what Adderall is? Do you know Ritalin? Do you know now that Ritalin is a street drug? Do you understand that?
The difference is,
No,
this was
no,
not against her will, though.
Madam,
This wasn't against
asking you a
her will.
question. Madam, asking a question.
I understand there's abuse of all of these things.
No, you see, here's the problem. You don't know the history of psychiatry. I do.
Aren't there examples, and might not Brooke Shields be an example of someone who benefited from one of those drugs?
All it does is mask the problem. And if you understand the history of it, it masks the problem. That's what it does. That's all it does. You're not getting to the reason why. There is no such thing as a chemical imbalance.
So
in a body.
postpartum depression to you is kind of a little
No.
psychological gobbledygook?
No, I did not say that.
I'm just asking what would you
No, absolutely not. That is post. Now you're talking about two different things.
Don't forget to subscribe. I'm gonna wrap this one up.
Antidepressant, all it does is mask the problem. There's ways of fighting this, and through exercise and various things. I'm not saying that.
Don't forget to subscribe.
It's an alteration of what I'm saying. I'm saying that drugs aren't the answer. That these drugs are very dangerous. They're mind